today?
I'm doing very well, Diana. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We're going to talk about some strategy inside the house, but first let's go over your experience real quick, because I know a lot of people have seen your interviews already. So, you loved it? Did you love your experience?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, did I love it? Yes. I mean, as short as it.
Sure.
Yes. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah. Little bit of a delay here. Okay.
Yes. It was short, but okay. When I walked through those doors, I was so excited. I couldn't believe it, and I kept saying that. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. Can you guys believe it? Like just being there. The shape of the house was slightly different than I imagined and watched, and colors are so vibrant and it was just awesome to be there and meet all the people. It felt like fun. I was sizing everybody up. I have opinions on everybody, still have opinions on everybody. It was awesome.
Great. So now, let me ask. You are like me. You have been watching since the beginning, and you're a strategist, right?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to talk about strategy. Let's go real quickly over the opinions you had of people when you sized them up at first. Can you just rattle them off for me?
Yes. First of all, Shane, I knew I wanted to align with him because he seems athletic, he's nice, genuine, and trustworthy. And relatively smart. So I was like, okay, good. He's straightforward. I can read him. It clicked. Frank, I liked him. He was nice, but he seemed dangerous. It seemed like he was holding something back. And I was like, if I am in charge or head of household or have any say, I want Frank out first because he just seems dangerous. Nice, but dangerous. Let's see, Ian, I thought he was sweet, not much of a threat, but I wanted to get to know him. I felt like I could trust him because we bonded over the fact that we both were fans. We love the show.
Right.
Ashley, I didn't really get to know her. She's not nearly as dumb as she appears on TV either. I felt like she's actually more beautiful on TV. I mean, more beautiful in person than she is on TV. She seemed nice, but very milquetoast. I didn't get much from her. I didn't have much time to talk to her. Kara, I thought was very sweet. Just didn't really get a chance to really talk to her other than to find out that I thought she was nice. And who else? Who's the other guy?
Will.
Oh, Will, he and I clicked right away. Obviously, if anybody watches TV, they know he's hysterical. I liked him. I thought I would choose him, or not necessarily align with him because I couldn't trust him. So that was sort of left to be debated.
So
Jen, I thought she was.
Quick question about Will. Did his gameplay after you came home and started watching disappoint you, or I mean, personal silent feelings aside, I know you two like each other a great deal. What did you really think of his gameplay?
It did disappoint me, even from that very first. There was a scene where there was a big meeting when Willie was still in the house. He was like, "I just need a break. We talked about the game for 24 hours." Don't say that in Big Brother. You can't say that. You think that, you feel that, you dream that, but you can't. People take it the wrong way, and that's what they did. So that you become somebody that nobody sort of wants to be included in anything. You go, okay, you don't want me to talk games, and they start having to be around you without you, and their ego is touching.
Okay. Okay, you were on Jen.
Yes, Jen, I definitely wanted to align with in some way. I wanted to get to know her a little bit more. She's actually very sweet and very low-key, low-maintenance. I like that. And I thought no one would ever suspect that was my plan going in to find somebody who's totally different than I am and align with them and kind of be a sweet and utter secret. So I thought that she would definitely be good for something like that.
Now that you've seen her in the house.
Well, she, first of all, gets a bad edit. People go, oh, she's not playing the game, she's not playing the game. She kind of doesn't have to. If you don't have to do too much, don't. You know, I mean, that's not how I would play the game.
But if you align with her, what is she doing for you as an alliance member? She does nothing. She doesn't add anything to the alliance.
Well, I think she does because she keeps getting passed over. So she could have been a vote for me if I was in Jamie's position, or she could be someone that just kind of together we have a locked vote and we could fib about a vote, say it wasn't us, say it was us, things like that. Just somebody that nobody is thinking about. And sometimes if you have me that's more outgoing and somebody who's not as outgoing, you have those two together, collectively you're going to attach to different types of people in the house. And then come back, talk about things, and be stronger.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. Um, Danielle, I thought she was crazy. You know, she told a story and she was telling me some stuff about her personal life, and I'm like, this girl's nuts. Okay, you know, I didn't see her as a threat. I didn't see her as anybody I could trust. I didn't see her as anyone I could rely on. She's pretty. I think she's a beautiful girl, but that was about all I thought about her. And then everybody, Willie, I love Willie. He seemed like a gentleman. I had no idea he was related to Russell Hand. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure about him, but as time went on, I was like, I like that Willie. He's strong. I think I can work with him. I can deal with hot-head type A personality, and I definitely would like to work.
Okay.
The coaches,
Yeah,
coaches. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The coaches came to the game. I mean, I obviously would have a different opinion of Dan if he had saved me. Again, no hard feelings against him. I just made a little decision. But I probably would have worked with Dan, or if somehow I ended up working with Janelle. I think that because of how her personality was, and I only did a little bit of a talk to her, she's actually not that threatening. She's very approachable. At least to me, I felt like she was. And I think I could have worked with her. Brittany, we didn't really have anything that she didn't seem to make any effort to really stick with me or get to know me, so there was nothing there. And Mike Bookie, because of what he did to Erica, I just have a positive experience, like opinion of him, and asked
Right.
who he was. Didn't he seem nice, but kind of helped, you know. But gameplay wise, I think in person for mine.
Okay. So, yeah. Now we're going to get into the meat and bones of what's happening in the last 2 weeks. Besides you, I want to know your opinion that this year, besides you, who got screwed the most, in your opinion, so far in the game? Who got the biggest shaft? Not so much from players, but maybe circumstance or whatever. What's your opinion?
I think Shane, because he had his HOH taken away from him, kind of the Shima effect. Thankfully, he didn't have the Shima response. So. But, you know, his brother, they keep doing that. They keep taking things out of people's hands, you know. I think they
and the collateral
HOH from him. Go ahead.
And the collateral damage of Shane's HOH being taken away was Janelle, because Mike would not have fought as hard as he did when Frank stayed. He fought so hard to keep Frank. Janelle would have been nominated up front because Danny's the way she is, and she would have had a chance to fight for POV. But because Frank was saved, he was put on the block again with Mike, and then Mike fought tooth and nail. So I think Shane got screwed, and collateral damage-wise, Janelle got screwed because she never got a chance to fight for POV because of Frank staying in the game. My opinion is Frank might be a great player, but when he's aligned with Boogie, he's just skeevy. You know, it's just, you know, the two of them together, not nice. And when Frank goes off on his own, much nicer. Yeah. But his aligning with, and then the thing is, even if he does get to the end, even if he wins, he's always going to be known as the guy who Allison Groder saved from being evicted week 3. Not week 6, not week 7, week 3. What do you think?
True. I think, well, in some respects that'll be true for the hardcore, die-hard fans. But most of the fans, I think, are yeah, you know. So the shortness, and they'll just go, wow, Frank made it. Wow, he deserves to win. You know how that whole deserves to win thing comes up. So anybody who survives the block many times, kind of like Jordan, and she, you know, wow, she actually survived. She deserves, you know. So I think that's going to happen. And I think he has a great chance.
Okay. So you know that Frank has won POV, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this week's strategy in the house and who's doing what. Have you been keeping up on the feeds?
I've been reading the posts and stuff about it. I haven't been watching.
Okay. So you know about Ian. You know about Ian double playing Boogie.
Yes, I do. And I know that Mike Boogie was saying today, you know, we start playing the game and I think that's great. That's another reason I really want Ian to win, is because people will underestimate him. They think, oh, he's smart, but he's an idiot in the game. He's not like book knowledge outside of the game. But Ian's aligned himself. He basically went up to this silent six and he's like, come here, can I have an alliance? And he went, sure.
No,
And then so
he's not with the
at the
Silent
same
Six.
time.
No, Ian joined the Quack Pack.
Quack Pack.
That was before the Silent Six was made. The Quack Pack was created before the Silent Six, and Ian had that before Frank and Boogie tried to save Frank Class. So Ian was in that way before the Silent Six was made.
Well, Ian's in a great position.
Yeah.
You know?
So Thursday night when Boogie leaves his house, sorry, we're over talking. There's a delay, so we're a little sorry if we over talk. So Thursday night when Boogie leaves his house, I am hoping, personally, just for a little satisfaction after having to listen to him brag for weeks on end, that Julie informs him that Dan is not the one who outed his plan to get Brittany out this week, but Ian, because he is so underestimated. Ian just thinks he's a kid wandering around kicking himself in the face, instead of someone who's actually been playing and outplayed Mike Boogie. What are you hoping for this week?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much hoping the same thing that you just said. I would love for Ian to even still continue to look kind of naive. You know, yes, he's going to have to make some moves eventually, but I think it'd be nice to play the dummy, like you said, to think himself a fake guy. So just a little bit longer. As for Thursday, I mean, I've heard that the word is we're going to put Jen up. I want Shane to make a bigger move. Don't just put up Jen. On the other hand, if you put up Jen, Eric's most likely that he's going home.
I think people who say putting up Jen is a waste, no, I think it's not, because here's my opinion. If the end goal is to make a big move and get out Mike Boogie, then putting up Jen is the security that allows him to make a big move. Now, if they just want fireworks and see Dan and Boogie on the block together, well, then that's just fireworks, but it's not good for Shane's game. Dan's with Shane.
Yeah.
So the end goal is getting out a big player. He's doing it by putting Jen on the block, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
Who do you want him to put on the block?
Well, because I want my Boogie out, I think Jen is a smart move. But on the other hand, me personally, I'd like to see Dan swerve a little bit. I think I'd enjoy it. I think it'd be more entertaining to watch Dan and my Boogie up, because if some weird flip-flop happens, then Dan goes home. And either one of those people going home is good for the movie. Because both of those people, Dan and Mike Boogie, are on their way to winning again if they don't get them out. Here's a possible opportunity for them to go, wow, Dan's great. Let's get him out now. I don't think that'll ever happen. That'd be exciting if it did.
Right. Or, except that would leave Frank and Boogie in the game together, and we would have the opposite. I mean, Dan's in with his alliance. It's either one of the two. Now, really, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think of the quality of the newbies this year?
Well, Dick Donato, people did have some really good points that I hadn't even thought of, and I agree. And actually, Russell from I think that was working the first time.
BB11?
Yes, they both kind of said the same thing, that this group of people are not type A personalities. There's nobody really left. It's a challenge. There's nobody exciting. There's nobody to hold people to the fire. You know, that was Billy. Once Billy left, it's gone. So you have a bunch of people who are very laid back, and they're just kind of like, then Dean's going to sit back, kind of watch, sit back, and she's going to watch, actually, and she's going to watch. Danielle will do whatever Shane says. I mean, Danielle is playing the game, lover or hater, in there trying to do something, like get Snell out. But it's a big
He's won 2 HOHs and at least 1 POV. Did he win 2?
I think so, but
2 HOHs
not
and
all
1
the
POV.
situations were physical. So I think a lot of times they see him as physical threat. Remember the coin wash thing? Like, kind of put a fool out of himself for that. So, I just wish there were more dominant. Not just because I wish I was still in there, and I think I'm not necessarily dominant, but I'm definitely outspoken, and I would know I would stick my foot in my mouth and get in my own way. As much as I'd like to say that I wouldn't, that's what I told, the casting directors from day one. That's who I am. So I never could just sit back and be a floater. I would want to be in there and have some of the action. And the fact that a lot of people in there are doing that is difficult for people to watch.
Okay, so most seasons have defined alliances that you could, root for or watch them make moves. This season has had, I don't know, probably 25 different alliances already, and it's so muddled, and I think that people are at the point of, I don't know who to root for anymore because nobody stays together for more than, half a week.
Yeah.
What do you feel about a game with strong alliances going head to head, or all this back and forth switching sides? Because literally, if you look at it, the whole season is floaters.
Yeah.
They have switched alliances over and over and over again, and the definition to a floater for some people is different than me. My definition, we'll ask you yours in a second. My definition of a floater is someone who goes to power back and forth and makes no moves. Now, my definition of someone like Jen, who does nothing, is just a skater. I mean, she's just skating on by. She's not really she's not going up to Shane and asking him for favors. She just assumes nobody cares about her, so she doesn't need to run up to ask not to be put on the block. To me, Jen's not a floater. She's just there.
A bobber.
But a bobber. There we go. That's a new definition. Good. She's a bobber, and then the floaters are people, and they've all done it. Boogie's run back to power when he needed it. They've all gone back and forth. So what do you think about the alliances this year?
I think it's kind of been a little bit confusing in the sense that even when I talk to a lot of the fans on Twitter, we like people, it's almost like you want to pick and choose bits and pieces, A lot of people don't like Danielle, but they like Shane. Or they like Frank, but they don't like Boogie. So it almost makes it less fun to watch, because you love it when, the people that love Rachel love Brendan. So it was like, yes, they voted for them, and it was like your heart and soul, you're passionate about that. But when it's this thing where it's kind of murky, you can't get behind it. It's kind of like if you love the Denver Broncos, and all of a sudden half the team is instantly the New York Giants. You're like, oh, I like it. That's the fun of Big Brother. You have the hate and the people that love, and watching the power go back and forth. Not the people going back and forth. So I know for me it makes it less enjoyable as a viewer. I mean, I guess in the game they're always saying, I don't want to Danielle, episode 1. It's always been super sweet, but she wants a lot of drama. Well, that's what we want to see. As viewers, we want it from us. So I'm waiting for books to get through this. I want to see the Quack Pack, Silent Six, whatever. I'm ready for them to turn on each other. We saw little bits of that last night on the feed, from my understanding. I'm ready to start to see them away each other.
Okay.
Watch them turn on.
So let's clear something up. The Quack Pack and the Silent Six are 2 separate alliances made up of a core of the same 4 people. So Quack Pack is Dan, Danielle, Shane, and Brittany with Ian. Okay? Silent Six is the same 4, Dan, Danielle, Shane, Brittany, with Frank and Boogie. Okay? Ian knows about them. Frank and Boogie do not know about the Quack Pack, but everybody in the Quack Pack knows about the Silent Six. So Ian was aware that they made this alliance with Frank and Boogie. So it's 2 different alliances.
Again, that just confirms Ian,
Right.
Basically, in 3 alliances, it started with Boogie and Frank, kind of, and then it's with the Quack Pack and the Silent Six. It's a great position. They're all looking at each other. Nobody's looking at Ian.
Yeah, his alliance members are saying that he is in the best position yet. And he feeds them such valuable information, because the reason Frank and Boogie went on the block is because Ian went to them and said, Boogie asked me to put you up in a double eviction. Brittany and Shane. Boogie, right before last week's live show, Thursday's live show, was convinced it was a double eviction. So he went to Ian and said, if you get HOH, you need to put up Brittany. Ian said, no, because he's got this thing going on with Brittany. And then he said, well, if you're not going to do Brittany, you got to do Shane. Ian agreed to that. It wasn't a double eviction. Ian went and told on Boogie. And that's how Frank and Boogie ended up on the block, solely by Ian ratting him out. They were worried about the Quack Pack. I hate that name, by the way. The Quack Pack was worried about, should we make our move now? Well, when Ian ratted out Boogie, that just solidified it, and that's why they went on the block. So that's going to be fun watching Boogie have his eyes opened by Julie Chen on live television. So looking forward to that. All right, good. So what other strategic, what do you think about Joe?
Well, Joe is good at staying in the house. I mean, it's funny, I don't know who it was. It was a fan that posted this maybe. Somebody said that the house guests were so quick to say, oh, thank you for the food, they'll eat all of it. And as soon as we got it there, again, blah, blah, blah. And almost, that's a metaphor for who Joe is in the game. Take a seat out of it. Like, a lot of times they're all, buddy, Joe, oh, he's cool, whatever, and then behind his back, but Joe is kind of like a love-sick guy, and that kind of works in his favor. There's a lot of begging, he needs to beg, and he's kind of sitting foot in his mouth at the same time. So it's interesting watching how he's able to keep by, walk, still in there.
Right.
So I always think, okay, good. Whatever you say about them, if they're still in there, if they're doing something, or a lot of times people aren't voting for Joe, voting against him to get somebody else out. So,
have you seen this new friendship he's developed with Shane?
I have not.
Okay. So it started while they were have-nots, and Joe knew that he was staying, and he and Shane started to become buddy-buddy. And Wednesday night, they stayed up all night together studying for the next day's HOH. Shane and Joe have slowly been migrating towards each other. And on Thursday, pardon me, before Shane said, we got to put Frank and Boogie up on Wednesday night. Joe and him had a meeting in the bathroom and then in the arcade in the middle of the night when everybody else was sleeping, and they discussed Frank and Boogie going up, and Joe said, I'm with you 100%. From this moment on, I'm not going to have to be loyal to anybody but you. They agreed to this. So then Shane went to HOH, and Shane goes to Joe first before anybody else and says, we got to put up Frank and Boogie. And Shane has basically told his alliance, Joe's with me now. Much to the dismay of Danielle and Brittany, who hate Joe. But Joe is slowly worming his way in with Shane and now Dan. And Dan has even said, well, I don't think he's that bad anymore, and it's just killing Brittany and Danielle, which of course makes me happy.
Brittany and Danielle better watch out, because women are the first ones to be disposed of in these competitions. I mean, the Big Brother as a whole. They may have this great core, but if Shane continues to stay close to Joe, they'll have Shane, Joe, Ian, and Shane and Frank still, I believe, have a little bit of leftover camaraderie. So then, let's just say Frank stays in the house for however long. Then they'll have Frank, and they'll just keep these guys, and they'll boot Brittany and Danielle and Jen out. Actually, I think they boot Brittany and Danielle out first, because they still don't feel threatened by Jen, and they don't owe her anything. And they need to watch out, because as much as Danielle thinks, oh, she loves me or whatever, it's pretty apparent from what I've read and a little bit what I've seen. He's keeping her close because it's like, it's good to have a vote. She's soft in some respects, but Ellie's annoyed by her. You've seen it more than I have, obviously. And I think of her in a lot of ways. So I don't think he would hesitate at a certain point to boot a Brittany or a Danielle out way before they'll vote out at Joe. It's Joe's case.
Here's my thing. I think Dan and Shane are kind of looking at Joe. Shane doesn't have a mean bone in his body, so his friendship with Joe is genuine. Joe going, I could bring him to the final two and win like that. So, because the house is so negative towards Joe, he knows he can't bring Ian and win. Dan. Can't bring Ian and win. Ian will win over Dan. I think. I'm pretty sure he will. He can't bring Brittany. He can't bring Danielle. He can't bring Frank. He can't bring Shane. He could bring Jen and Ashley, but I'm not sure the newbies wouldn't just vote for him. But I think if he brought Joe, he'd win. So, yeah, so unless Ashley and Danielle and Brittany win some serious HOHs because they can't stand Joe, and they get him out for personal reasons, and that's a problem with Brittany and Danielle. They don't play strategic, they play personal.
Maybe for me too, because I was watching the piece a little bit a few weeks ago, and obviously watching the show. My interpretation of the Danielle Brittany situation, Janelle Danielle situation was that Janelle, I'll call her Janie, so I don't get myself confused. Janie did nothing really to Danielle. And when they had that conversation up in the HOH room, she was basically saying, oh, I would have put makeup on if I had known, and, I just didn't know why this all happened. And then when it was retold by Danielle, it was like, well, she cares more about makeup than she cares about being in this house, which is not what she said, and that's not what she meant, and she twisted it. So is Danielle lying about Janie, or is that how she really interpreted it? I don't know.
The big question is, first of all, Danielle lies about everything. Now, is it truth in her own head? I don't know, and neither does the rest of the world. In her world, she loves her, and this guy named Trey out in the real world loves her, and we all know that's not true, because the guy said, oh, I don't, leave me alone. And so Danielle twists things so much, like she did it the other day. Here's an example. She was mad that she wasn't up. They had this big confrontation up in the HOH, you know about it, right? Okay. So Danielle was in the DR when it started, so she's down there with the bobbers, and she doesn't like being with the bobbers, so because she wants to be one of the cool kids, so she goes up to the HOH, and Shane says, can you give us 5 minutes? Well, that just infuriates Danielle, because why aren't I invited to this meeting? So she's downstairs, and Frank comes down after the meeting, and she invites Frank to talk to her. And then she sits and has a conversation with Frank and Boogie, where they're trying to sway her, da-da-da-da. She goes upstairs and retells the story that Frank and Boogie, for an hour and a half, berated her, threatened her, yelled at her, said all these awful things. She's the one that asked them to talk. That's the way Danielle twists things around. She doesn't, it's not just a slight little embellishment, it's to make herself look more important. And that's the sad part. It's not for gameplay that she does it to make herself look more important in the eyes of other people. And
runs with her lives. There's 2 big lies she's supposed to do.
What are they?
Number 1, the worst and most pathetic one, that I tried to play the race card. That is 100% categorically not true. I am not what I've ever been. She made it up. Basically, there was a time, I wasn't even in the house long enough.
First of all, what did she say? What did she say, first of all?
Here's the problem. The fans watch the feed and then they tell me. I don't know exactly what she said. They just said, you tried to play the race card today. Which I didn't have any control over it. So, but she took a conversation that did happen and twisted it. We were waiting to go outside when I was in the house. We were waiting to go outside before that teddy bear competition. And I was standing there talking to Jen and Will. And I said, oh, look, if us 3 are safe, we've got the token black girl, the token lesbian, and the token gay guy. We're not going home. And we all laughed. That to her was playing a race card. Nope.
Right.
The second thing she tried about me was she said that I somehow went up to her and said, oh, are your teeth real? Are they fake? Or something like that.
And touched her teeth.
That is ridiculous. The only people's teeth I've ever touched are my own, and maybe my husband's and my dog's teeth, and I'm pulling his bone out of his mouth. I met her, and I said, you smile. Beautiful teeth. That's it.
See, now, think she does it for game, honestly. I really think she has an altered sense of reality. And we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so let's move on. We gotta wrap this up pretty soon. Um, let's see. Have we? Do we want? You want Boogie to go this week?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. And who? All right. Next week is a double eviction on Thursday night, so there's 2 people going to be leaving. Let's talk about real quick scenarios for double eviction. What's your first hope for someone getting HOH?
Okay. I thought about this too. I actually love Jen get HOH. Or maybe actually, but let's just go with Jen and have her assert some power that she automatically has. So Jen, let's just say Jen gets HOH, and she nominates Brittany and Danielle. Watch them squirm. Then the power veto happens, and she wins it, or somebody who wins it, doesn't matter who, it keeps everything the same. And then we watch how the house shifts, because these 2 people on the block are buddy-buddy, watching them go and play, and they would also get to see how quickly the Shanes, the Joes, and whoever aren't going to come to their, to their rescue, because one of them is staying in the house. And so I think that'll really shift how things are played if that happens. Do I think this can happen? No, but that's what I'd like to see happen. And I'd like Danielle.
Okay. Proven. I would like to see Britt and Danielle up on the block together for a week, not for an hour, and have it be done, swiftly. I want them up on the block together because at that point, all of their multitude of lies, and they have, between the 2 of them, told more lies than any other than the entire group of the house put together, including all the evicted people.
Yeah.
Their lies will start to spill, and their character flaws. The house is not happy with Brittany for her rudeness, her messiness, her snoopiness. She walks in, if the arcade door is shut and 2 people are in there talking, she just walks right in and inserts herself into every conversation, and people are annoyed by that. Now, Danielle, on the other hand, has her character flaws, and people are picking up on those. So the 2 of them up on the block together will be a battle royale that I am just salivating to see.
I know.
And I don't want it to be over in 1 hour. I want it to last because I've had to tolerate them for so long.
I know. I am with you 100%. That's
right.
what we watched this for, right? These fun battles.
Yeah. Now, who are you rooting for to win the game at this point, if any?
Ian. I love Ian. He's a sweetheart. He is playing the game. He can win big competitions. I would love to see him be able to pay off his college loans. I like the kid. Other than Ian, I think Frank. I wouldn't actually mind it. I know people are like, ew, Frank, whatever, but he's got a lot of fans. I like Frank. He's a likable, nice, decent guy. That matters to me. I know it doesn't matter to Big Brother now. Or maybe Shane. Those 3.
Not sure I can pick a winner at this point. I really don't. Not sure. I like Shane. He's not the brightest as far as strategy goes, but I do think that he's getting a little annoyed with Brittany and Danielle talking down to him all the time, and he's starting to play his own game a little bit, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time before he goes enough, But they talk down to him so much, and strategy-wise, you can't say he's good, and he does agree with everybody about everything, and that's a problem, But I like Shane. I wouldn't mind him winning, simply because he's won so many competitions, and it's pretty clear he's going to win more. Ian, I don't know, he's kind of annoying, the arrogance. He thinks he's so much better than the floaters, and he's just gotten to a point of really, cockiness, and that takes away his adorableness, So for me, I don't know. I really don't have anybody at this point.
I know it changes. I can't believe I'm on so frank. I want to get out. I like it. And I don't know why CBS is showing the showman including, or did they? I don't know, me and Ashley.
Oh, they kissed one night. There's no showman there.
Yeah, but that would be more entertaining for them to show and edit together than Shane Danielle thing.
Oh, they did show them kissing.
Okay.
Yeah, they did.
I think they actually have a reasonable connection. You're wrong. Watch the scene. I do.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure. Ashley just, one day she's with one group and one day she's with another, and you just never, I think there are days when I think she's really smart and she's hiding it, and she's playing this Portia Briggs type game where she is going to wait till week 7 and then bust out all over the place. In last year's season, Portia had the Golden Keeper for weeks, laid around, did nothing, and then she'd say, well, I don't want to talk about the rainbows and butterflies and dumb shit. I don't want it, and that was her big excuse for leaving Rachel and Brendan, was that they only talked about game. Well, Ashley says the same thing. And with Janelle, she didn't want to talk game. That's all Janelle wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. It's the same exact game, in my opinion, but we have yet to see if Ashley crossed up with it some intelligence come week 7 or 8. We're just not there yet. I think she's playing Portia Briggs, but I could be wrong. She could be stupid all the way from beginning to end. And, then. So, Jodi, I want to thank you so much for taking some time to join us on Dinah's Diary Room. And go ahead.
I just said thanks for inviting me. Thanks for asking. And anything else out there, follow me on Twitter at Jodi Spot.
What a name. Yeah, we'll put Jodi's Twitter account on here. I love talking strategy with people who actually know strategy and stuff like that. So this has been a pleasure. And come back and talk to us anytime.
Thank you so much, Diane. Have a good afternoon.